All right, so this is my new book, Diocese Dilemma. A lot of people have been asking me about this. Where'd the idea come from? A couple people emailed me, said I should be ashamed of myself and take it off the market, blah, blah, blah. So the idea was simple. When I was a kid, I grew up Catholic. My dad was very, very, very Catholic all throughout his life. He was actually studying to be a priest before he stopped that and went in a different direction, obviously, or I would not be here. Um, but it struck me as odd. You go to confession, you tell this one guy all your secrets, and he doles out punishment for you. And then you go sit in a room and they tell you about how the priest is the sword and shield of God, God's Marine, he's the soldier on earth. But what happens if you're not paying attention to the rules in the confessional, you're not really repenting for your sins, and you confess something really bad? He can come up with a punishment that's beyond the normal go say a few Hail Marys, right? Well, then you learn about the Inquisition and you realize, yeah, the church has employed torturers before. Well, what really happens in the case when a priest goes rogue? Well, in my particular case, I was like, what happened if one became a serial killer and decided to take some of those lessons from the Old Testament and employ it to today's world in that eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of way? And would the church cover it up? Could the police actually figure out what was going on? How were the victims being selected? Do they have any commonalities? It'd be really interesting to kind of dig into that. So this book, co-authored with Mike Garst, who's a former combat medic, and myself, who's a Army veteran, now turned scientist, that we kind of, played with that a little bit. And I think it came out pretty good. So far, the reviews of the people who read it are great. A lot of people who have not read it have sent me email telling me I should be ashamed of myself because it questions their faith. And I got news for you. If your faith is so shaky that my little fiction book can go off and question your faith forever and draw it into so some kind of place where you're not sure if what's going on, or I should be ashamed of myself, whatever. Great. But I think the book is pretty good. So we will not apologize for what the priest did to the guy who was trafficking underage girls. That guy had it coming, and I will absolutely not apologize for what happened to the lawyer. I wouldn't do these things in real life, but the priest wasn't nice to those guys. Remember, eye for an eye. So I do hope you enjoy the book. I'll probably talk more about it in a few days, but I just wanted to kind of throw this out there.